If you're an empath, this is for you. Today, I'm unpacking 10 reasons why most people can't handle you and all that high vibing energy you carry. You ready? Let's do it. Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Tamie M. Joyce. I'm the founder of Tamie M Coaching and creator of the Freedom Class and the Ascension Class. Please take a second to say hello and introduce yourself in the comment section below. And don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell to be notified when I post new videos throughout the week. So let's talk about the 10 most common reasons why, if you're an empath, most people can't handle you. Interestingly enough, not all, but many of my highly empathic clients, my highly empathetic clients, come into my programs completely unaware that they are, in fact, full blown empaths. And more importantly, what that means in terms of how empaths process and relate to the world around them. So, if you're a highly sensitive, highly intuitive, deeply empathetic person, you are, in my view, a spiritual warrior, a missioned soul. Deep down, you know you came to the planet with a divine mission and purpose, even if you haven't quite figured out what that is yet. You're aware there's a divine blueprint within you, a sacred contract and calling, etched into the very fabric of your being on a soul level. That is the empath I'm speaking to today. So, for those of you who know this is true about yourself, and you've gone through life hearing things like, you're just too sensitive, or you're too emotional, or you need thicker skin, or my personal favorite, you know, you should stop speaking your mind so much. In other words, the message is there's something wrong with you as you are, with all that empathy and sensitivity and penchant for truth. If that speaks to you, I have good news. Although I'm certain you're not a perfect person, nor am I, the good news is there's absolutely nothing wrong with you. Even if you've been told your whole entire life that there is, even if you've always felt emotionally battered by the world, and more specifically, the people around you. Even if you grew up in a family where you were repeatedly told what a problem your sensitive nature is, you have to know that your sensitivity is actually a gift. It's the gift that you bring to the planet. It is, in fact, your superpower. Unless, of course, you're allowing others to exploit you and use it against you. If that's the case, when you don't know or understand this about yourself, it can feel like a curse to be as empathetic, intuitive, and sensitive as many of us are. And even though the empath superpowers will manifest in a variety of ways and a range or degrees of strength, most people, especially fear based, insecure people, simply cannot handle the frequency that a full blown empath carries. They find it disturbing. We are, by nature, disruptive. And that's on purpose, it's no accident. And in spite of what you've been told your entire life, I promise you, it's not because there's something wrong with you. Quite the opposite, actually. There is so much that is so very right with you. And it's time you start seeing it that way. Because when empaths finally realize the truth about themselves, get in touch with the truth of who we are, we can go out into the world with a little more elegance and a little more grace and poise, expressing ourselves in a way where we can stand in our truth authentically and unapologetically, allowing other soul aligned humans to enter our lives while exercising wise discernment and choosing to love those who aren't so aligned from a distance. And in doing so, we learn how to honor ourselves, trust ourselves, how to not dim our light and shrink in an attempt to make others feel more comfortable. You know, all the ways we tend to sell our soul in an effort to appease unhappy and insecure people. Once empowered, we don't do that anymore. So, it's vitally important for us to learn to be true to our authentic selves, no matter who is uncomfortable, who does not like it. We want to be true to who we are at our core and honor our divine essence. Now, with all of that said, let's dive into 10 reasons why most people can't handle you if you're an empath. Number one, you stand for the truth. That's right. Empaths value honesty and integrity. And when empowered, we fully stand for the truth, no matter how inconvenient, uncomfortable, or unpopular. If you're a full blown empath, you are honest, perhaps even to a fault. And that can make a lot of people really uncomfortable. Now, there is a shadow side to this. Many empaths who have yet to do their personal healing and recovery work, and therefore still struggle with untreated codependency, have yet to develop the habit of protecting their own privacy. Our natural tendency is to go through life like an open book, which is fine when you're surrounded by well intended, decent, kind, and genuinely loving people who actually care about your best interests and actually have integrity. But sadly, that's not most people. So, empaths often have to learn how to set healthy limits and boundaries and how to respect their own privacy. Moreover, if you're an empath and you're not living in alignment with your truth, and for whatever reason, you're still carrying toxic secrets or lies of any kind, perhaps from your childhood, my friend, you have to figure out a way to deal with that stuff so you can set yourself free. There will be no real peace for you as an empath until you do. Again, empaths, by their very nature, value honesty and stand for the truth. The truth is everything for an empath. And if we're out of alignment and we're not living in our truth, if we're still carrying toxic secrets, lies, or lies by omission, and all the shame that goes along with all of that, we will get sick emotionally, psychologically, spiritually, and ultimately physically. It's a big one. Now, hear me. If I can't stand in my truth in a relationship with you, or anyone for that matter, if I have to pretend to be someone or something I'm not, feel something I don't, forget something you and I both know is true, in order to be in any kind of relationship with you, today, I am very clear that I am in the wrong room and I'm just not interested. Not anymore. No, thank you. Remember, the truth is everything for an empath. Number two, empaths ask too many questions. As the old saying goes, the truth doesn't mind being questioned. It's lies that don't like being challenged. So it goes without saying, liars don't like being challenged either, now do they? And the reality is, empaths ask far too many questions, especially for empathy impaired emotional manipulators living a lie on a power trip, meaning people with a destructive narcissist personality pattern. Full blown empaths are genuinely and sincerely curious about everything, in particular, people and their lives and what makes them tick. So, again, especially for narcissistic people, empaths ask far too many questions because, frankly, narcissists simply cannot be bothered to tell the whole truth. Nor are they the least bit interested in contemplating the hard questions of life. And when we are self aware and we understand this is where we can choose to express ourselves differently depending on who we happen to be dealing with. We can learn to exercise wise discernment, avoid inflicting narcissistic injury, and sidestep the inevitable narcissistic rage that comes along with accidentally poking the bear just by being our authentic selves. And remember, this isn't a value issue. We all have inherent value and worth. But the truth is, we're all in different places. Some of us are further along our path of growth and evolution, and some of us have more to hide than others. And this is especially true of narcissistic people. Number three, empaths know what they want. That's right. An empowered empath is very clear and knows exactly what he or she wants. Now, I'm talking about empowered empaths here. If you still don't know this about yourself, and or you have untreated codependency and unresolved family of origin wounding and trauma, you haven't graduated into an empowered empathic state yet. So, you might still be confused about who you are, why you're here, and what you really want. You might still be in the process of figuring out what's right for you, what you actually deserve. But typically, an empath will have a really good idea. Deep down, they know. And if they stepped into their power to any degree, getting where they want to go is a priority for an empath. There comes a point where we just wake up. I think all of humanity is moving in this direction, but for some of us, it's happening faster than others. Some of us are leading the way, so to speak. Again, not a value issue. We all have value, but it's obvious some people are waking up faster than others. And once an empath starts to wake up, you know you're on a mission. Even if that isn't completely crystallized in terms of what it is, you know you came here for a reason, a purpose. There is a call on your life, and you know that it's an important call. And the more you reclaim your power and get clear and raise your vibration, the less time you'll have for deeply unconscious, empathy impaired people. Instead, you start loving yourself, taking care of yourself, and you'll get on path. You get about the business of doing what you came here to do, which ultimately boils down to clarity. An empowered empath is clear. And empowered clarity is all about knowing exactly who you are, why you're here, and what you want. Number four, empaths want meaningful relationships with other empathetic people, including their partners, which for many of us can be a challenge. Because if you're anything like I was for years, simply by virtue of my early experiences with my family of origin and all the stuff that I carried unresolved and unhealed for so long, while I went through life attracting one destructive narcissist after another, well, needless to say, this area of my life was very challenging until I finally surrendered and did the real healing and recovery work that I needed to do. But even when we aren't running a pattern of attracting one destructive narcissist after another, the truth is it can be difficult for the average person to show up for and hold space and meet a highly empathic human with the depth of intensity if they don't carry the same level of empathy themselves. Empaths go deep and want many levels of complexity and authenticity. And in fact, not just romantically, but in friendships as well. Surface level, superficial, all the fake image and false persona BS that many people lead with is hard for an empath. And this is why it's on us to do our own work. The more we do our work, the more we open ourselves up to attract people who actually resonate at the same level. I know for me, empathy impaired people started to fall out of my life in every way imaginable. Sometimes more painful than others, for sure, but always for my highest good, always taking me to higher ground. And the more I did my own internal healing and recovery work, the less compelled I was toward people who aren't soul aligned. And they aren't attracted to me anymore either. I'm not much fun for a narcissist. Not anymore, I'm not. Now, comment below and tell me whether or not any of this resonates as true for you. Let me know in the comments section below. And if you'd like to learn more about the possibility of working with me in one of my coaching programs, there's a link in the description below this video where you can apply to see if you qualify for a free one-on-one consultation with either myself or a member of my team. Number five, intimacy is a given with empaths. An empath is not afraid to let you see their vulnerable side. And although some people may see that as a weakness, in reality, it takes a lot of strength and courage to be willing to be vulnerable in front of others. And empaths do this quite naturally. People who walk around pretending they're never vulnerable are kidding themselves. That's not strength, not even close. However, those of us who have the courage to let our guard down and be seen for real have what it takes in terms of internal strength to drop our guard and be authentic, real, and admit that we're feeling a little fragile or vulnerable or whatever it might be. Now, that takes courage and strength. Now, to be clear, this does not mean we let our guard down and expose our vulnerability or open ourselves up to people who have shown themselves to be unsafe on any level. That's not what I'm saying. But if you're an empath, know that your capacity to be vulnerable is a strength, a good thing. Just be wise about who, where, when, and how you choose to show your more tender side. Not everyone deserves your heart. Number six, empaths see through you. Empaths see through the crap and all the BS, even if they don't let on. People who suffer from self esteem and confidence issues don't tend to hold their own very well with highly empathic people, especially an empowered empath. Not because the empath is lacking in empathy, tolerance, or compassion, but because their own fear and insecurity and feelings of inadequacy get in the way. I know this is true in my own experience, and I think we've all had the experience where insecure, fear, and shame based people are super easily triggered by us. They can't hold their own well with highly empathic people because empaths are so in touch with their own feelings and the state of affairs we find ourselves in, we can pick up on phony and imposters in a nanosecond. And we see right through the fake, phony, artificial, and superficial. None of that can withstand the presence of a truly empowered empath for very long. We see you, we feel you, and we're on to you. We can feel it. We know when we're dealing with a false persona, the mask, the make believe and pretend many people show up with. And fundamentally, because we can't make contact with your heart, with your true self, because you haven't done so yourself, there's nothing to connect to, not in any real way. And truth be told, that's okay. That's simply where some people are at. No judgment and no criticism. It just makes it really, really difficult for empaths to develop any kind of real or genuine friendship or relationship when that's the case. We feel it, even from great distances. Again, an empowered empath will be onto you and quickly. Number seven, empaths like consistency. They really struggle with flaky people. Inconsistent, unreliable, unpredictable flaky flakes who don't keep their word, feel entitled to bail, and don't follow through on their agreements or promises. How hard is it to honor your commitments and behave like a decent human being? Well, apparently very when you're entirely wrapped up in self. So, empaths will tend to have a high standard based on common decency, courtesy, and respect. Why? Well, because we have empathy. We respect other people and their time. We value good old fashioned common decency. And we very much like consistency in those we associate with. Number eight, empaths are intense. There's no way around it. We're intense people. And when you get two empowered empaths together, we don't even really have to finish our sentences because the vibe is there and we get it. We can meet each other in a way that we can't do with others. We vibrate at a different frequency than the average person. And again, remember, this isn't a value issue. It doesn't make us better or special. We're just wired different than the average Joe. So again, there's no way around it. Empaths have a lot of intensity. And once fully empowered, we aren't making any apologies for that. God knows I spent a lot of time, more than enough time, apologizing for who I am when I was surrounded by a bunch of deeply unconscious, destructive narcissists, both covert and overt, for a good portion of my life. I'm not apologizing for who I am ever again. And if you're an empath, neither should you. Now, look, if I make a mistake, if I accidentally hurt you, if I drop the ball and I owe you an apology, I'm the first one there. But apologize for being me, for who I am and how I'm wired, or worse yet, for your triggers that you have yet to take responsibility for? No way. And when we get to that place of genuine self love, self esteem, and self confidence, our light, as Marianne Williamson says, gives others permission to do the same, to rise up and shine. We don't do anyone any favors by hiding our light so that insecure people feel more comfortable around us. So we don't apologize for who we are and how we're wired. And the truth is, once you step into your full power, it really is that simple. Honestly, it's a great way to live. We're highly empathic people. We're not out there living life in a way where we're deliberately stepping on others' toes or hurting people unnecessarily. We have empathy. We care more than most. We love more than most. We don't need to be apologizing for who we are, why we're here, and what we're doing or why we're doing it. We just need to be true to ourselves, follow our heart, and serve those we're here to serve. period. Number 9, empaths are courageous. Not fearless, courageous. They do it, whatever it is, in spite of the fear. If they know it has to be done, fear is the last thing that will stop them or hold them back. Again, we're talking about spiritual warriors here, missioned souls. So there are no half measures with an empath. Do not ever make the mistake of underestimating an empath and what they're capable of pulling off. They will shock you every time. Courage defines them. Strength and personal integrity define them. For all the love and light they carry, your opinion isn't even on the radar of a fully empowered empath. They lead with courage, in spite of the fear, criticism, or rejection. They're on a mission. They're soul aligned, and courage is their creed. And last but not least, number 10, empaths are independent. You should know that an empowered empath won't wait around for another person to get their shit together. Why? Well, because an empowered empath does not need another human being to solidify their place in the world. And while that might mean they're single for much longer than they might have hoped, they're okay with it. And their choices that they make along the way. And they'll stand by them so they can ultimately enjoy the quality of love they've always wanted and know they deserve. And when empaths have done their work, they're capable of healthy, happy, truly loving, interdependent friendships and relationships. The kind that absolutely have the power to change the world. It's why we're here, friends. And it's time now. And with that, I'm going to call it a wrap. But before I go, how can Tamie M Coaching help you? Well, 4 ways. Number 1, subscribe to my channel and click that notification bell to make sure you get my new video every Friday. Number 2, watch my free web class by clicking on the link in the description below. You'll learn about my personal journey and professional experience through decades of research specific to healing and recovery from codependency and narcissistic abuse. You'll also learn about some powerful strategies that you can begin to use today. Number 3, if you're not sure where to start, but you want to come and learn from my team and you'd like to be supported by a stellar community of like-minded people who are focused on solutions that actually work, you can learn more about my 8-week transformational coaching program, the Freedom Class, by going to TamieMCoaching.com and clicking on programs and reviews for all the details. And number 4, if you want some help right now because you have a burning issue, you need something solved, you want to break free from painful relationship patterns permanently and actually make lasting progress in your healing and recovery, go to TamieMCoaching.com and click on Apply Now to learn how you can become my client.